Okay, now then we're going to do that same problem, but we're going to use this uh, graphics software called GeoGebra. So hopefully you downloaded it and you're able to open GeoGebra and now you're ready to go. So let me give you a little explanation of this program. Uh, the program is dynamic algebra geometry software, and it has different views in it. Here's the algebra view, the graphics view, and we can also add more views. I like to add the spreadsheet view. So the spreadsheet view gives you the numerical, the graphics will give you the picture, and the algebra will give you the symbolic. When you are on different views, it will give you different tools. So on the spreadsheet view, you have these statistics tools, which we don't need to use right now, but when you click on the graphics view, it gives you the graphics tools, and the algebra view also uses those graphics tools. So when you put in a point, for example, that point will show up in the graphics view and also in the algebra view. If you want to put in a point in the spreadsheet view, you can tell it exactly where it needs to go. So like 3, 4 would be a point, and then I would have to select it, right click, and say create list of points, and it puts that point at 3, 4, just like I told it to. And you'll notice that the different colors, this blue means that it can be moved around. It's independent. And the black means that I can move it around, but it's going to change the value over here. There are some other colors that make maybe a point is locked to an axis. So like this point right here is purple, so it can only go on the axis. Okay, and then anything you want to get rid of, make sure that you're on the move tool, and you can either select it in the algebra view or the graphics view, and you just select it and hit delete, 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 and delete. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that problem that we just did on paper, but we're going to do it in GeoGebra. So first I want to turn on my grid, so I just right click on the graphics view and hit grid, and I want to label some points. I want to make a triangle. So I click on the polygon tool, and my point A was at -5 in the x direction, 2 in the y direction. Then point B was -3 in the x direction, 1 in the y. And my point C was a -1, 5. And to close out a triangle, you don't want to have a hanging edge, so you can make a bigger polygon with more sides, but we just want the triangle for now. So closing it out completes the polygon. So this is the triangle that we start with, and we want to map it onto a triangle down in the 4th quadrant, and it's -1, 1, or 1, -1, 5, -4, so 5 in the x, -4 in the y, and 3, -5, so 3 in the x, -5 in the y, and I close out. Now any of these labels, if I want to match the original problem, I can change the label. So D was actually called, so I just right click on the point and select object properties, and if I'm on point D, I want to change that to R, so I just type R and then I click somewhere else and it changes that to R. Let's see, point F, I want to change the label to Q, and then E I want to change to P. Okay, and I just close out of it. So now I've changed my labels. I don't want this line, so I just hit escape, and anytime I hit escape it'll clear out and go back to the move tool. Alright, so what I want to do is use a set of isometries to map this polygon onto that polygon. So those transformations would be, I think, first thing we could do is mirror across the y-axis and then translate down. That seems to make sense. So I can use this tool right here. It's reflect about align. So when I do that, I can select the polygon and then select the y-axis, and it reflects it for me. So you can see that it labels them A prime, B prime, C prime. This little apostrophe, we call that prime in math. So A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay, and another thing I want to do is translate. Now, translate by a vector is one of the options. And a vector is just a direction and a magnitude. The direction that I want to go is down, and the distance I want to go is 6. So I can put the vector anywhere. I'm going to actually make a new point at 0 and at -6. So that the vector would be that distance right there. Now I can go back to translate by vector. And now I want to select this triangle and I want to translate by this vector. So I'm going to go from 0 to -6. And you can see that it put that triangle right on top and it labeled it A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. Now the nice thing about GeoGebra is it's dynamic. So when I change the original polygon, it will change all of the shapes that are directly mirrored to it or reflected from it. So you can see here when I select this, I'm on the move tool now, and if I pick C and I move it down, you can see that it maintains its same reflection and translation by that vector. So I can play around with it and see that actually anywhere that I go, I always get a congruent triangle. So these isometries really work. Okay, that's it for now.